Hello everybody that watches Angry Snowboarder stuff and pays attention to this website. Today I'm going to talk about my top 5 worst snowboards. Avran's not here to argue with me on this, and I'm really thankful about that. I think he might have SARS. I don't know how he got it, but I think it's hilarious because it's my favorite pandemic. Now, also, going into this top 5 list, I have some stipulations. It'd be super easy just to pick top 5 crap snowboards. That's simple. There's a lot of crappy snowboards out there. I could just list everything that Gilson makes, or maybe everything that Prospect Snowboards makes. That'd be too easy. So, my top 5 are from brands that should have known better. And now, there's been some brands out there also that have just had longer periods where they just made terrible stuff. And then they started making really good stuff again. And I'm still going to stray away from that. They were making really good stuff at the time and also made a really terrible snowboard at that same time. Going straight into this list, my 5th worst snowboard. Honestly, kind of barely made the list, but I was actually having a hard time coming up with stuff because, again, my stipulations were a little more specific. So this one, it was just because it kind of made me angry. And it was the Arbor Draft, the year it had brass edges. And it was just too much. And it was stupid, and I hated it. And that's why it's on this list. Because that board should have been really good, and they ruined it by putting brass edges on it. Because brass edges are stupid. Why the hell would you put a soft metal edge on a snowboard? All it's going to do is dole out really fast. This board was one of Arbor's kind of first forays into making super soft, jibby park decks. They, for the longest time, were your old man mountain boards. They were stiff, they were super cambered, they were, the guy that just cruises, goes fast, and rides big mountain. That's really what Arbor made for a long time. So the Draft was kind of their first rocker deck, and it was kind of their first jump into making park decks with Pat Milbury. He was really good at pretending to be really good. Does that make sense? I met him a couple times. He's been a super nice guy to me. But anyways, we're talking about snowboards and not Pat Milbury. And the Draft just made me angry because it was a super good board, and they just ruined it by putting brass edges on it. It's a soft metal, and I get, it's all good for hitting street features on, but if you're buying a board to hit street features on, you're not going to ride it on the resort. So at that point, you can buy something with steel and just take a grinder to it, and you're fine. So why put brass edges on it? That means that you can basically only ride it in the street, and it sucked riding the mountain on because it would dole out so quick, and you couldn't really sharpen it. You could, but again, it would dole out again, basically instantly. My number 4 on the list is from Burton. It's the Whammy Bar. Whammy Bar was V-Rocker. For all of you that don't remember what V-Rocker is, it looks like a V. Pretty simple to figure out. So to start off, when you're talking about something that's got V-Rocker, that starts in the center and just rockers out from there, really the only point of that snowboard that you're pressuring is right between your feet. It's the only place of that snowboard where your edges are really doing anything. Where Burton really fucked up is they put what they called mid-spoon on it. They give you a 3D base from edge to edge that lifts the edges right between your feet. The only spot where your edge is actually going to do anything. How are you supposed to turn a snowboard that you don't have any edges to use? Why even put edges on the snowboard at that point? It wasn't even good at jibbing. That board was stupid. Number 3 on my list of boards I hate is the Holy Moly 2 from Forum. Forum doesn't make snowboards anymore, and I don't think the Holy Moly 2 is why, but it was really terrible. It was basically full camber with what they called combo platter. Combo platter is very, very similar, because this was after they'd been bought by Burton, to what I was talking about in my number 4 board, the Whammy Bar, with that mid-spoon. Basically the exact same thing, except on full camber and underneath each foot. Trying to ride this snowboard was like trying to ride a death sled. Yeah, that's really just the best way to describe it. If you've ever ridden a snowboard that was just missing part of its edge, and it happened to be right around your foot, it's kind of what riding this board was like. You had your side cut outside your foot, you had your side cut between your feet, and you had your side cut outside your other foot, and you basically didn't have any side cut under your foot. And that's fucking weird, because it's not smooth. The transition as you turn on edge from outside your foot to between the feet is really abrupt and strange, and taking off a jump so you don't really have any control because you can't pressure anything at your feet because your edge isn't hitting the snow, but it's full camber. Why would you do that? Who thought that was a good idea? And again, it wasn't a jib deck either. This thing was not soft. It was actually relatively stiff. So you can't just manipulate it and push through it to get through the side cut the way you need to. The board... Why? Why would you do that? Forearm. But at least you're dead now, so oh well. Number 2 on my list is the Rome Crossrocket. This was also a camber deck, and also had some 3D shaping to it. The shape was this kind of weird diamond thing, where from edge to edge, in the very waist of the snowboard, it was basically flat. But from there, in a pyramid shape, it was raised at your contact points from the center of the board out. I don't know how you're supposed to ride a snowboard like that. And it was also like a weird pseudo volume shift board where it was supposed to be ridden a little bit shorter. I don't know who designed this, and I don't know why you would design a camber board with no contact points, because that's how you turn camber, is with your contact points. This was a death sled. It was like riding a saucer. They just put too many things together that worked on other stuff into one package, and it was like when you were a kid and you would go to a fast food restaurant and you go get a suicide where you stick your cup underneath each nozzle out of the fountain and make this awful, terrible sugar beverage that tasted awful. That's kind of what the Crossrocket was. It was a bunch of good tech all together that made it awful. It was a terrible hurricane snowboard. It's like a pickled cheese peanut butter sandwich, which sounds like something Ellis would eat, which is probably why he died on the toilet. It's terrible. It kills you. That's what the Rome Crossrocket was. Number 1 on my list is honestly not even the worst snowboard on this list. Part of the reason it's on this list is because of how long it's existed. It's the Libtech Skate Banana. If you haven't seen Avran's review of this snowboard, you should go watch it. Because basically everything he says about it on the way that it rides is what I feel on this board. It's a useless noodle. It's marketed as a do-everything board that's also good for beginners, but you can ride it everywhere and it's good at everything, and that makes no sense for starters. It basically is barely changed in 10 years, and when it came out, it wasn't very good. Why, in a decade, why haven't you changed a snowboard that started out as mediocre at best? Now, vague amount of respect for it. It came out right around the time when rocker started actually being a thing in snowboarding. It was basically this and the K2 gyrator. Gyrator was POW, and this was supposed to be your all-mountain do-everything deck, and it wasn't very good at that. But it was the only one out there that was rocker, so like, alright, I guess you kind of started something with it. But again, it's been 10 years and it's still not good? What are you doing? You know how to make good snowboards, Libtech. TRS is great. Travis Rice is great. There's other great boards in your line. I want some. But this? No. And it's been 10 years of no. How can something stay terrible for 10 years and you don't pay attention to that? That's why this is number 1. Because of 10 years of no. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting all the way through the video. I know I said some angry things, and I don't apologize, because I get to say whatever I want. This is my segment. Avran has SARS, so he can't be here. Eventually we're going to run out of ideas, too, so if you've got some top 5s, throw them at us. Maybe we'll do them. Maybe we won't. Maybe we don't listen to you. Maybe we don't even know you exist. Do you exist? And I want to know, did your board make my list? This is probably the only list you don't want your board to make. And if it did make it, why the hell did you buy that? That was dumb. If you want to see more of this, subscribe. Keep watching our top 5. They're fun to watch. You know they are. I'm telling you they are. And I'm right, and you're wrong.